Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. A lot of people, or a lot more people, have been following me on Goodreads recently, and have been asking how I read a lot of books. Um, to be honest, I don't think I read a lot of books. I think I've read 8 in total so far this year, which to me is an achievement because, like, I don't normally read that much. But here are just a few tips of my own, of how I feel about how to read successfully. Like I said, these opinions are my own. They work for me. They might work for you. They might not work for you. They won't work for everybody, but they work for me. And so yeah, I'm just gonna dive straight in and tell you how I read successfully. So what I always do with a book, and I'm gonna be using the book I'm reading at the moment as an example, which is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. But what I do with any book is, if I'm not sure about the book, as in like maybe I haven't read in that genre before or something, I always try the book first. So, for example, this book has a prologue. So what I did with this one is I read the prologue and it made me want to keep reading. And then after I've read the prologue, what I will do is I will keep reading, and I'll read up to page 50 or thereabouts. So like if the chapter ends at if the next chapter is at page 53 or 60, then that's where I'll read up to. And then from that point, if I want to keep reading it, then I know that I want to read it and I will keep reading it. If a book doesn't have a prologue or a beginning, like if there isn't any passage at the beginning before a chapter, then I literally just start reading it. And if I get to page 50 or 60 and I'm still enjoying it, I'll keep reading it. So that's basically how I read. Another thing is, you might have heard this phrase, read what you feel, which is exactly what I do, and it works for me. It might not work for everybody, but at the moment, obviously, I'm reading a fantasy book, but I know that I love sci-fi, I love poetry, I love fantasy, so I will just pick up something and read it, and I'll use that method. So I'll either read the prologue first and then carry on to the chapter, or I'll start at the chapter and just carry on and see what happens. And if I don't feel like reading it, I don't feel guilty, I just put it down and I pick something else up and use the same method again. And yeah, so read what you feel. So if you normally read, I don't know, crime, but you have a few fantasy books and you're not sure about them, just pick them up and try them. If you feel like that's what you want to read, then read it. Like I said, don't feel guilty about picking it up, reading the first chapter and thinking, no, I don't want this at the moment, or just that you don't like the book. Don't feel guilty about that. That's perfectly normal. Another thing I always try to remember in my head is, if a book is the first in a series, trilogy, duology, that you have to bear in mind that there may be some character development, there may be some info dumping, there may be a lot of setup for the books in the future. So obviously The Cruel Prince at the moment is part of a duology, a trilogy. We don't know if it's going to be a series, but there are 2 books out already, and there is a 3rd coming out this year. So while reading The Cruel Prince, I'm trying to remember that if certain things happen, or there's a lot of chapters that are just describing the world, or just describing a relationship, or like antagonistic feelings towards other characters, I am aware that that is because that is an important part of the series going forward, or the trilogy going forward. So yeah, and then I always keep track in my head of milestones. So say I've read to the 50 or 60 pages where wherever that chapter ends, and I like it, but I'm still not sure about it, I will keep reading until maybe the 100th page, and if I keep reading, I will keep reading to maybe 200th page, and I know that because of each of those milestones that I'm still enjoying reading it. If I got to if I read the first 50 pages and loved them, but then read to page 100 or page 150 and thought it was absolute crap and why the hell am I reading it, then I wouldn't keep reading it. And like I said, I wouldn't feel guilty about that. I would just put it down and pick up something else that I feel like I want to read. Yeah, so that is just a quick video of just my thoughts on how I read successfully. Like I said, it's not, it won't work for everyone, but it works for me, it's working for me at the moment, and I'm going to keep employing it. And yeah, that's why also, if you follow me on Goodreads, you might see that occasionally in my books that I'm reading, it will say that I'm reading like 3, and then like a day later it will say that I'm reading 1, and that's because I've employed that tactic, and I've started, and I've thought about it, and I've thought whether I'm enjoying it or not, and I've used the milestones and stuff, and I've just got bored of it. So I put it down and take it off and put it on my want to read, or just take it out of my Goodreads completely. So that's why that happens on my Goodreads. Yeah, so like I said, I just wanted to give you a quick kind of like little video to explain how I read. And maybe, hopefully, if anybody out there is wondering how to read, or how to read successfully, then maybe this tactic and method will work for you. So yeah, let me know if this does work for you, if this is how you read, or if this video has helped you to begin reading more. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you want to talk with me about this, then comment in the comment section below. And yeah, follow me on Goodreads at Lee Johnson, and you can follow my bookstagram on Instagram at bookishtrances. And I will see you again very soon. Goodbye.